Well, hello there. Welcome to another show. Now, today is a special show because I've been chatting with my dad, and my dad, as many of you know, he does model railways. He has an N gauge set up in the house. It's looking absolutely beautiful, and he loves making all the little buildings and everything. But he had a bag of these, and this is a handful of N gauge people. They are around 10 millimeter. They're around 10 millimeters high for your N gauge layout. They are the smallest little men I have seen in a very, very long time. And anyway, my father asked me if I would take up the challenge and paint a few of these miniatures for him, for his model railway. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how an easy way to paint your N gauge miniatures. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to repaint these miniatures because the paint job on these miniatures is really a slap happy job. So what we need to do is we need something solid to work from, because it's going to be impossible using tweezers to paint these miniatures. Now what I've worked out is the best way to paint these miniatures is get yourself a piece of balsa wood and some ordinary super glue. This is liquid super glue. So all we're going to do is, in little spaces along, we just add a little bit of super glue to our balsa wood. And the reason why we can use this is because once you finish painting your miniature, it's very simple just to use a craft knife and then take these away from the balsa wood. But what happens is they stick very well to the balsa wood using the super glue. And like I say, once you've finished painting your miniatures, we can actually use a craft knife to remove them from our balsa. So this is the best way that I could think of to get a sturdy grip. As you can see, all the little minis are on there already. What I'll do is I'll carry on and add the rest of the miniatures, but there we are. That's 5 of them on there. What we're going to do, I think we'll just go, we've got 5, 6, 7, we've got about 10 miniatures that we'll do today on this piece of balsa wood. So once this has dried fully, wait for your super glue to dry fully. What we'll do is we'll go over all the miniatures with some pure white. But what we'll do is we'll check each miniature to see if there's any flashing or any abnormal lumps and bumps from the plastic that we can remove, but they look fine. But what we need to do now is just give these all a coat of white as our primer. So I'm using some pure white. Now I'll leave links below the video where I get the paints and all the actual numbers for these paints if you're interested, but any acrylic paint will do the job. All the white has been added to the miniatures now, and they all are ready for painting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding some dark colours, because my father collects G.W.R, Great Western Railways, or God's Wonderful Railway, if you want to call it that one. And so we're looking at 40s, 50s, 60s. So there won't be any bright colours at all. It'll all be very dark colours. So we're looking for like dark browns, dark reds, some blues maybe. So what we're going to do is we're going to start painting these now. I'm using an Insane Detail brush by Army Painter, which has got quite a nice brush on it. And we're going to start using the brown first and painting in the areas on the jackets and things. It's very simple to do. I'll have to get a bit closer. These are tiny, but we'll start this guy at the end here, and we'll just add the jacket down to there. Now we want to try and make it as easy as possible and as fast as possible, especially if you've got hundreds and hundreds of N-gauge miniatures to paint. You don't want to be spending days and days and days painting these miniatures. But of course, if you've got the spare time, then why not? So I'm going for brown on the jackets, blue for the trousers. So this is called blocking in the colours, and blocking in the colours just means we are doing all the main areas of the miniature and filling in the colour, that particular colour that we need for that little tiny mini. So moving on to another one over here, this will be brown as well. So just going down to the jacket bottom, moving around to the front, get that glue out the way, following it round. He's got a little there, perfect. So I'm just giving you an idea of how we paint these. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to wash my brush and we'll go straight into a different colour. And for the bottom of these trousers, we're going to use the blue. So going back to that main character there, and we'll just go back in blue and paint his little trousers in blue. Looks like he's got a pair of workers' jeans on. Now the idea now is to get all the colours blocked in, ready for the next thing we do. What I'll do is I'll quickly show you the lady. There's a lady on the end, so we'll paint in her dress, and then I'll finish in the blocking of colours, and I'll show you how to make these miniatures look a lot nicer. Now I'm going to use that Gothic red, Gothic crimson should I say, for the lady, and we'll just, she is very, very tiny, we'll just move around here. There we go. Like I say, this brush is perfect for what I need on this miniature. So we'll just keep on going around the whole dress. And on the back there. Now remember, when you are painting these little N-gauge miniatures, you don't have to really go into mega detail, because the average viewing angle, you're going to be about this far away. See in the distance here, we're going to be, you know, if you got your N-gauge railway, you're not going to be super close unless you're doing some really high production photographs. You really are an arm's length away from seeing these miniatures, so you don't have to paint the eyes. Yeah, thank goodness. But we will be painting the flesh tones in now. I'm going to finish in the blocking in of the colours of the clothes, and then we'll come back and we'll start painting the faces. And again, the faces and the skin tone, very important on the miniatures, but also very basic because of the distance of these miniatures. You do not need to go into high detail to make these miniatures look fantastic for your railways. All the main colours have been added to these little people now, and all I did was I used some woodstained brown, I used some Gothic crimson and some denim blue. So I've only used 3 colours for the whole of the clothes, and the reason for this is because it's not overwhelming. If you have too many different bright colours, it's going to look really silly on the platform, so you want to try and keep everything quite dull, because that's more realistic and more how it really would look. So for the face, for all the faces now, we're going to use some tawny flesh from MSP Paints, and again, very simply, we're going to paint the whole of the head and the arms. We're just going to go straight over the whole of all the flesh area, including the hair, and go all the way around the miniature. And we'll do the arms and the legs here on the lady. And again on the guy here, all the way around, and do the back of the head, and just follow all the way. We'll paint over the hair later. The reason why I'm doing this is because it's much easier to paint the flesh and then do the hair afterwards. And we'll do that to every single mini. We'll just keep on going across, and we'll paint all the hands and all the flesh areas of each one of these tiny little people. And we'll go along and finish those off now. Let's paint the hair on our miniatures. Now for the lady, I am going for some buckskin pale for the hair. Make her a little bit like Marilyn Monroe has come to visit. And she has she's waiting for a train. So all we're doing is just adding this beautiful buckskin pale around the top of the miniature and moving around to the back. Now the reason why I painted the skin tones on first is because we want to go just to there, so you can actually see a little bit of pink showing through for her neck. So that's perfect. Now what we'll do is, while we're here, we'll do one of the guys with some yellow hair as well. So we'll just quickly go over like so, and add his little quiff there. He looks like a 50s rocker, this one. Absolutely tiny. There we go. And maybe one more on the end. Just here. Just to use up the paint. There. Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm just going to wash my brush. And we'll go into some light brown. I got some driftwood brown here from MSP Paints. And we're going to use that for the rest of the miniatures for the hair. I don't recommend using jet black. A lot of people I've seen use jet black on the actual miniatures they're painting for their model railways. Nothing wrong in having jet black hair. There was people who used to put the Brill cream in the hair back in the day and make their hair look super glossy. But what you'll find is black again is too dark. It's such a dark color. It stands out way too much. So what you're trying to do is make everything blend in as best as possible on your model railways, and just by using these lighter browns and colors which I've used today, it works so much better than having very dark colors. For instance, you'd be tempted to paint all the boots black or paint all the trousers black. Very good for the controller of the station, but on most of these miniatures it would look a bit odd with the very dark hair. So this is perfect. Now we have one last thing to do to these miniatures to make them look fantastic, and that is we're going to add a very light ink wash. So if there's any detail on these miniatures, it will come through. Plus the ink wash will it'll age all the miniatures and make them a little bit darker, and it will bring out a couple of shadows on the faces. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this soft tone ink wash. And once these are dry, we'll go through that together. So let's start adding the ink wash. Now for the ink wash, you're going to need some of these little Q-tips, or earbuds as I call them, stick in your ears. And this is for soaking up the ink wash, because the ink wash is very runny and can pull into your miniatures, especially when they're this tiny. So I'm going to add some of this ink wash. It's a very light ink wash to all the miniatures. So we'll get quite close here. And we're going over the whole miniature. What happens is just the ink wash really gives a lovely shade to the miniature, and we just add it to the whole of the mini, and it really brings the miniature to life even when they're so small. And of course, if you've got any pooling, what we do is just have a tiny bit there and on the face just to lighten it up a little bit. And we'll move on to the next one. Again, going over the whole miniature, just let all the ink wash flow into all the recesses of the miniature. And as you can see, the face, even though we're not painting the eyes or anything on that face, that ink wash has brought out where the eyes are and the nose. You can just see the little details, and this is on a 10mm miniature. So the ink wash is a super important detail to add to these miniatures, and they just give it the perfect finishing touch. Okay, we'll do one more. We'll do the lady, and then I'll finish off all these miniatures, and we'll see what they're like when they're all finished. So again, we're just adding this lovely, very light ink wash to the little lady. absolutely fantastic. I mean, for the size of the miniature, this will look fab on your model railways. And we're just taking off a little bit of the ink wash there, but as you can see, that ink wash has made her hair stand out better, her dress, the arm, there's a shadow on her arms now, and the shadow between the arm and the dress, and of course it's picking out details on her little face there, which you wouldn't actually see. And remember, we're seeing these from a distance, so on your miniature railway these are going to look absolutely superb. So I'm going to finish these off now and we'll see what the end result looks like. So here are the finished miniatures, and I think they look fantastic for 10mm size. These are absolutely tiny, but they'll look fantastic on my dad's railway, and I'll be very happy to pass these over to him when I see him this Monday for coffee. Thanks for watching, and until next time.